But Jesus walked out to the Mount of Olives. Then early the next morning, he went to the temple. The people came to him, and he sat down and started teaching. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law of Moses brought in a woman who had been caught in bed with a man who wasn't her husband. They made her stand in the middle of the crowd. Then they said, "Teacher, this woman was caught sleeping with a man who isn't her husband. The law of Moses teaches that a woman like this should be stoned to death. What do you say?"
Okay, here's the deal. I'm the woman, the adulterer. And I was just pulled out of bed. And my man isn't here, apparently. I'm supposed to be stoned? Why? Why me? Why isn't he here? It takes two to tango normally. I don't understand this. They are hypocrites. For the Mosaic law says that if a man and a woman are caught in the act of adultery, that both of them should be stoned. Yet I, the woman, am sitting here all by myself. Does that make sense? Not so much. I think my man should be here along with me in order to fulfill that law. So I think they are a bunch of hypocrites.
They asked Jesus this question because they wanted to test him and bring some charge against him. But Jesus simply bent over and started writing on the ground with his finger. They kept on asking Jesus about the woman.
You know, I was in that crowd that day. I saw everything that happened. But I wasn't just in that crowd. I was one of the guys that caught her in the act, red-handed. There she was, with that guy having an affair right there. And you know what? They were both in the wrong. But we knew this was an opportunity where we could trick Jesus, that prophet that everyone's been talking about these days, saying he's the Messiah, the Son of God, Son of Man. How is that possible? So we did, we just grabbed her. Yeah, we knew Mosaic law says that both of them, if committing adultery, should be stoned. But this is a perfect opportunity. We'll give Jesus two choices, and he'll pick one. No matter which one he picks, he'll be wrong. Because if just her is stoned, then he shouldn't have let that guy off. If he chooses the other option, to do nothing, well, that's wrong too, because he's forsaking the law of our scripture. You know, this whole time that we brought her to him to be stoned to the center, he was just sitting there writing in the dirt, just drawing, and we couldn't even tell what he was writing. But you know, he's probably writing what scripture says. Back in Jeremiah, it says that if we forsake the Lord, he's going to write our name in the dust, showing that. So maybe she was getting her name written down there right then. We just don't know.
If any of you have never sinned, then go ahead and throw the first stone at her. Once again, he bent over and began writing on the ground. The people left, one by one, beginning with the oldest. Finally, Jesus and the woman were there alone. Jesus stood up and asked her, "Where is everyone? Isn't there anyone left to accuse you?" "No, sir," the woman answered.
I cannot tell you how happy I am right now. Okay, let me recap what just happened. Jesus just told off that entire crowd of people who were holding stones and getting ready to stone me to death for what I had done. Okay, one by one, starting with the oldest person in that crowd, they dropped the stone. Each person dropped their stone after Jesus said, "Let the one that among you that is without sin cast the first stone at me." And one by one, each person dropped their stone because they knew they had sinned. Except me and Jesus were left.
Then Jesus told her, I am not going to accuse you either. You may go now, but don't sin anymore.